Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be discussing the case of 14-year-old Jodi Jones, a bubbly and vivacious teenager who was murdered in the most brutal way. This case takes place in Midlothian, Scotland, a historic and beautiful county south of Edinburgh. The area is known to have a number of prehistoric forts and settlements. It is rich in architecture and history, with many centuries-old buildings standing to this day. Jodi was born in 1989 to James and Jodi Jones, who were both raw mail workers. She was the youngest of 3 children and described as a bright and level-headed child. She had a flair for painting and poetry and was particularly close with her older sister, Janine. She was affectionately known by her mother as her wee mentor. Tragically, when Jodi was just 10 years old, her father committed suicide, which understandably caused the family great pain and distress. As a result, Jodi's mother Judy gave up work in order to care for her 3 children. As the years went by, Jodi developed a defiant personality and frequently adjusted her image and hair colour to pink and green to match her changing personality. She is also said to have developed an interest in heavy metal bands such as Metallica, and by age 14 to have experimented with marijuana and alcohol. It is around this time that Jodi met and began a relationship with a boy named Luke Mitchell, who was the year above her in school. The pair initially started dating in secret as not to alert Jodi's mother. However, the relationship was soon discovered. Jodi's mother Judy noticed how much time her daughter was beginning to spend with Luke and became concerned around the lack of attention Jodi was paying to her home and school life. However, this was exacerbated when she learned her daughter had been taking drugs and alcohol, which had on occasion been supplied to her by Luke Mitchell. This led to Judy restricting how much time Jodi could spend with her boyfriend, but this was soon lifted on the 30th of June 2003. June 30th, 2003 was a Monday afternoon like any other for the Jones family. Jodi had finished school, and after spending a couple of hours in her bedroom, she had advised her mother that she was leaving home to visit Luke Mitchell, who lived a short walk away. After a number of hours had passed and Jodi had not returned home, Judy began to get increasingly concerned that her daughter had not returned. She was under the impression that time had gotten away from her and Jodi had become caught up in seeing her boyfriend, and so she reached out to the Mitchells to find out the whereabouts of her daughter. Judy was troubled to learn that Jodi had never reached the Mitchell household and had not been seen for the last few hours. An immediate search was launched to retrace the steps Jodi would have taken that afternoon. Both Jodi's and Luke's family took part in the search, which covered a woodland area known as Rowan's Dyke, which was often a meeting place for the teenagers. It was here that Luke Mitchell discovered the remains of 14-year-old Jodi. She had been sexually assaulted, bound, strangled and stabbed. There were multiple knife wounds to her neck, chest and stomach. It became immediately clear that there was doubts over the ease of which Luke was able to find the remains of Jodi, which had been hidden behind a wall. The police paid particular attention to Luke on the days following the murder. It was discovered that Luke had taken some unusual steps, such as burning the clothes he had been wearing on the day of the murder and purchasing a film which depicted a murder with an eerie similarity to that of Jodi. Further investigation brought forward 2 witnesses who claimed to have seen 2 teenagers matching the description of Jodi Jones and Luke Mitchell near the murder scene. This contradicted Luke's claim of being in the family home at the time of the murder. When officers analysed computer data on the day of the murder, it was discovered that Luke's brother had been watching pornography at the time of the murder, and upon questioning, he admitted that he would only do this when he was home alone, thus rendering Luke's alibi false. This build-up of evidence had led to the arrest of Luke Mitchell 10 months after the murder, at which time he was able to be tried as an adult. Luke denied the claims and stuck with his defence that he was at home at the time of the murder, and so a trial began. During the trial, the jurors were taken to the scene of the murder and were played an extract from the horror film purchased by Luke following the murder. The prosecution focused on Luke having prior knowledge of the location of Jodi's body, which is how he was able to locate it with such ease. The trial concluded on the 20th of January 2005, and Luke Mitchell was found guilty of the murder of Jodi Jones. Upon receipt of the jury's verdict, Judge Lord Nemo Smith informed Mitchell, "It lies beyond any skill of mine to look into the black depths of your mind. I can only look at what you have done. You have been convicted of a truly evil murder, one of the most appalling crimes that any of us can remember, and you will rightly be regarded as wicked." Luke Mitchell was sentenced to a minimum of 20 years in prison before he could be eligible for parole. Since his conviction, a number of appeals against his conviction have been lodged, however, none have been granted. What is surprising is the traction and support Luke has had in these appeals. There is a small group of supporters who passionately believe in Luke's innocence and have attempted to shine a spotlight on his supposed innocence. However, I will let you make up your own mind on that. In 2021, Channel 5 aired Murder in a Small Town that raised the possibility that 5 of the suspects could have been the murderer. In the show, former police officer John Sallins and Michael Neal queried a lack of forensic evidence linking Mitchell to the crime. The show, which was watched by 1.5 million people, was the subject of complaints to Ofcom, including one from a witness in the trial. Jones's family objected to the implication in the show that they were part of a cover-up. Tom Wood, who was second in command of Lothian and Borders Police at the time of the murder, called the programme very one-sided and pointed out that Mitchell's appeals have been unsuccessful. So that's it for today, guys. As always, thank you for listening. Please remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment on whether you think Luke is innocent. I'll be back soon with another video. Until then, take care.